You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, hosted by Joey and Holly Baird.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is on the air, and it's heard on WNOV 860 AM and W293CX 106.5 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WWDB 860 AM in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WAAM 1600 AM and 92.7 FM Ann Arbor, Michigan, and KMET 1490 AM Banning, California.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to talk about the rules of container gardening. Whether you grow in the ground exclusively, you can add containers, or you're 100% a container gardener. As well as we'll go to class and we'll learn how to plant trees, ornamentals, and fruits. Tree Planting 101. Our guest is author Barbara Pleasant, plus your garden questions. The hour's jam-packed, so let's start it right now. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether you're listening in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, Banning, California, or anywhere in between. We're so happy you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether on in-studio video replay or podcast replay. So happy for that. You can find all of our content at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com under the radio tab, where full-length podcast of this program can be found, as well as in-studio video, as well as go to your favorite podcast-providing website to capture and revisit all past shows. I am your host, Joy Baird. Next to me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
You, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, it contains over 1,400 garden videos now, short and long format, as well as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and alike. The executive sponsor of the program today is...
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA. We offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Oh, you can always get a hold of us in a variety of different genres, and they all revolve around the IV Organics hotline. IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Plant Guard
naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. Protects newly installed plants and trees. Shields prune and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can reach us by the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard email inbox, and that address is twvgshow@gmail.com. Or you can text us on the Instant Access ivorganics.com text line, and that's 414-368-9311. You can tweet us using hashtag TWVG, or Twitter handle is at TWVG Show. Don't forget our text line is at 414-368-9311.
We want to make mention that last week was our 80th show of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. You can capture, as we talked about, you can go to your favorite podcast providing website and revisit any of those, as well as they're all captured with in-studio video. So, been 3 seasons, 80 shows, pretty cool deal that we are self-funded and we do this all ourselves. There's still time, Holly, for our listeners to win a weed dragon or mini dragon.
Do you want to win something for free? Do you want an easy way to get rid of weeds? You can with a weed dragon that attaches to a standard propane tank, or a mini dragon that attaches to a 1-pound propane tank. When flame weeding, the most effective way is to catch the weeds early, from 1 to 4 inches, and then it removes all those weeds. And you can enter the contest by going to email us at twvgshow@gmail.com. You want to put in the subject line weed dragon or mini dragon.
You can find all
information will be on our website at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. It's at the top. And then if you want to buy one, you use the code WVG19 for free shipping. Or you can text us at 414-368-9311.
Identify if you want mini dragon or weed dragon. Propane tanks not included in this giveaway. So let's talk about container gardening. Container gardening, whether you have a lot of ground to grow in or you have no ground, a patio, porch, deck, deck or elsewhere, container gardening is a great alternative, and you can grow a lot in a container. It's not very restrictive to you if you kind of understand how to go about getting the containers and what you can grow in them.
Right. So even if you do have ground to grow in, we use containers for a few different things. One is to add more space. Another one is you grow rhubarb in a container. Sometimes you don't want to grow certain things in the ground, like mint, that can spread. So you want to think about the right size container for what you're planting.
99% of the things in which you can grow in the ground, you can grow in a container, excluding a few crops. But yeah, the size of the container. If it takes 2 square feet in the ground, you probably want something that's a little bigger than that for the container. You want to have good soil depth. A typical container, we use root maker grow bags, which are about 12 inches high.
So one thing
and multiple gallons.
One thing you want to think about is what you're planting. So like lettuce and the roots. So lettuce is not a very deep-rooted plant. It's a very shallow-rooted plant. So you could get away with like an old hanging basket to plant your lettuce in. But something like tomatoes, you're going to want like a 5-gallon bucket because those are heavy feeder. They have deep roots. And then even like squash, what else?
Peppers, yeah, eggplants, potatoes. The thing with a container is, yes, it may have shallow roots, but also that doesn't mean it's a good idea only to have 2 or 3 inches in depth.
No, but like a hanging basket is about 4 inches.
You got 4 to 6 inches. Because the less amount of mass of soil you have in there, the quicker it will dry out. Additionally, the less amount of soil you have in there, the quicker the nutrients will leach out of it from natural rain and or watering. So you're going to have to supplement some type of plant food or fertilizer on a regular basis or a couple of times during the growing season.
So speaking about rain and watering, you want to make sure your container has drainage holes. This is important because you don't want the water just sitting in the bottom.
If your container doesn't have drainage holes, don't use or don't buy that container.
Right, unless it's a 5-gallon bucket and you're gonna drill holes in it or something of the like.
Yes.
So that's something that's very important. You need to be able to have drainage holes. Now, one thing you can
with a 5-gallon bucket, you put holes in it. Most people would decide to just drill holes in the bottom. Mm-hmm. What we would recommend is going 1 inch up the side and then drilling holes. 3 or 4 holes in it. What that provides you is 1 inch of basically a water cushion, a self-watering, wicking type of environment. You're going to fill the container full of soil. So whenever you water, once the water gets to the holes that are 1 inch up the side of the bucket, they will overflow and run out. There's still water that's capillated in the bottom of that bucket that will wick back up when the upper levels of the soil gets dry. So it can help you a little bit, keep the plant a little healthier, happier, and even if you forget to water, it may save you in the long run.
Right. So that's very important to know about drainage holes. Now, you can mulch around containers, which a lot of people might not think about, but that way mulching, you're not necessarily going to have any weeds because you're filling it with a good potting soil or good compost, but mulching helps retain that moisture. And it also
which is key.
So you might think, I have containers, I don't need to mulch that. Well, it's good. You can retain that moisture.
Have you forgot to do something in your life? You will forget to water your containers.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's one thing is that just because you're growing in containers, make sure you are on a watering schedule with that.
And there are irrigation systems in which, a drip irrigation, which is designed for container gardens, that you can hook it up and on a timer, so you do not have to worry about it. Multiple units or zones, multiple units and zones that you can hook up and go on your patio, porch, or deck. Very efficient, very effective, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, as well as the forgetfulness out of it. And then some, if you really want to get high tech, some link up to your Wi-Fi and you can control it with your phone and the whole deal there. But that's another program for another day.
Right. So that's our next item here is watching for moisture. So using irrigation, making sure you're on a watering schedule. During the hottest parts of the year, you want to make sure that you are maybe watering that container twice a day, sometimes maybe even 3 times a day, depending on the size of it.
That's that. And then we go back to the size. Oversize will save you even for short, shallow root crops, because water naturally wicks up in nature, in the world, wicks up from the soil level and vertically, and then evaporates from the underneath the earth. I forget whatever you call those, the capillaries, and the water systems, the streams underground, wicks up and
the water table
and hydrates the soil. So that's the same thing that's happening in a container. From the bottom up, it dries out. So that's what you want to be aware of. And again, using mulch will reduce the amount of watering you have to do. Now, mulch can be anything. It can be shredded paper. It can be straw, chemical-free grass
You
clippings.
can take, if you have like old cloth, you can take and lay it in strips around your container.
We have experimented, and this has worked. Take an old sock that doesn't have preferably holes in it, fill it with sand, and then lay it on top of the container, and it creates a barrier. And then when you water, you just water it through the sand or the sock, and it hydrates the soil, because what happens on the beach, top of the sand, hot, dry. You rake back about an inch, moist. So it makes a great, and if you don't want to mix that sand in, that's one way of doing it. But there's many, many different options. We want to avoid anything that's going to leach chemicals in to the soil in the container. That's the number one goal here, is to keep the soil healthy.
Now, sometimes you may have to trellis or support what's in your container, so don't think like you can't grow cucumbers in a container, because you certainly can, and there is bush cucumber varieties, but you can grow vine cucumbers, you can grow vine beans, pole beans. Thank you. You can grow bush beans too, but you can grow pole beans, you can trellis those. You can grow
tomatoes, trellis them.
Yeah, use them, or stake them. Yeah, stake or cage them. So you definitely some squash. So you can definitely have support, and you can grow squash. Maybe you have a ground and your soil's bad and you just want to grow in containers, or you don't want to commit. You can still grow squash. You just have to remember that it's going to vine out on the ground. And
it's going to take a lot of water. Carrots do really good in the containers. I was thinking about that, because that loose soil allows the carrots to... Onions to grow real good. And a trellis can be anything that is functional. You can have it eye-pleasing, but Holly and I look at it, it doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be functional. And some people will take an old mattress and burn the mattress, the fibers off, and use the spring frame as a trellis, and it really works well for like pole beans. You can do a lot of pole beans, but that's a discretional decision if you want to do such that. But sticks, twigs, whatever fell out of the tree, jam them in. Let those plants grab onto those structures, because a lot of these, for peas, example, very weak stemmed, and when they fall over, they'll pinch the stem, and the plant's done. Doesn't matter how big they are. So you have to have some supporting apparatus for these plants in order to grow successfully, some of them.
And one advantage to container gardening is that you're typically growing these off the ground. I mean, it might just be like the height of a 5-gallon bucket, but maybe you have like a nice little planting bench and you grow them on this bench. You're able to see problems a lot
The elevation
easier.
Aspect of it.
Yeah, the elevation aspect. So that's something that is an advantage if you go out there, look at your containers, and you see some sort of pest or bug, you're probably going to see a lot easier.
There will be bugs and insects that affect the plants that are in your containers. However, it may be less, because the elevation that some bugs can't get up. They live on the ground, they live in the soil. They can't climb up the container and climb in the container. Some do, but there is the availability to see them easier. And there's some less infestation that you may have on the plants as well. And then finally, placement of your container is key, but also the mobility that you have. That's the advantage with growing in containers. If you do see a problem or realize you put them in the wrong place at the beginning of the year.
Right, and you preferably want to make this decision, especially for a 5-gallon bucket, before you fill it full. But if you have to move it, you have to move it. But you want to think about if you're moving. We did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you want to think about where you're putting it. You want to have some sunlight. Make sure it's not something where people or animals or whatever can get to. Otherwise, you can put some fencing around a container if you have to.
Yeah, protective means. Additionally, if you have 3 pepper plants in a row in containers, and one pepper plant gets affected by some kind of insect or disease, you can physically remove that plant and isolate it, because it's in a container, until you figure out, a learning process. Okay, this plant may die, but let me educate myself on what this is, what the result is, how it occurred, and then I can prevent it from happening or reduce the effects of it for next year, so you don't infect everything else around it. So that is some of the container planting information which you can use in your garden. And even when you have a ground garden to grow in, you can use containers. We use containers all the time. Well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, have you ever planted a tree? Do you want to plant a tree, ornamental or fruit? We'll go over what you need to know before you put a shovel in the ground. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
/7, 365. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com has all the gardening information you need, videos, digital magazines, replays of shows, and more.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated. Root Assassin, a garden tool that does all the root functions with its advanced shovel that has serrated edges on both sides. Find out more information at rootassassinshovel.com.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
You're going to fail. I'm just being honest with you. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe. Organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products, from plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more and save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. If you want a garden but you fear that you will fail, container gardening is the best option for you. With container gardening, each container is its own individual garden. You have more control over each plant, you can understand how it grows, and then next year you can move up to a larger garden.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com.
Gardeners know the hardest part of building a garden is building the rows. Now there is a long overdue patented, hand-pulled, heavy-duty, lightweight row building marvel that you can find at rowmaker.com. The rowmaker can easily and quickly build multiple straight-line, perfectly spaced rows of proportional height, width, and depth. This yellow workhorse makes building rows easy and so fast it will save you hours. Just pull it across your tilled garden and work smarter, not harder. See it to believe it at rowmaker.com. Planting your garden will never get easier.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Rowmaker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment,
Phylum Bioproducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show.
I listen to your show just about every week, and it's very informative.
Well, we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
With your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
You know, it also is very informational based and organic. Dr. Earth Fertilizer.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, organic, garden-friendly products. Based on research and innovation, after 28 years, they are the leader in organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids, composted household waste, or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have a manure-free fertilizer, organic soil, insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. You can visit drearth.com to find out where to buy.
You can use Dr. Earth to fertilize your fruit trees or your ornamental trees, but before we put them in the ground, there's some things that we all need to be very, very aware of in order to do it correctly. Anybody can just grab a tree, dig a hole, throw it in the ground, but it may, or it most likely will not be very successful if you're intending it to go long term.
And one thing we don't talk about often is the importance of calling Digger's Hotline where you are. Whether you're planting a tree, you're starting a new garden, you're planting a hedge, whatever, you want to call Digger's Hotline. And the reason is that you don't know what's underneath your ground. You may have lived in that location for 30 years and had a garden in the same spot for that amount of time, you decide to put a tree in your front yard, you don't know what's there. So and even if you think you know, you don't know.
And Digger's Hotline is what
Digger's Hotline can definitely help
is
you
what's here in the Wisconsin area, Pennsylvania, Southeast Michigan, Southern California. You all have your own individual underground utility marking company or organization. So that is the law that you have to get that marked, because they don't take kindly to, oh, I'm sorry, I dug that up, or I wrapped that around, or I cut that. They don't think
right.
that's...
Or hit something, or you hit something with your shovel. And
so we want to be aware of that, because we didn't realize how much stuff was under our front yard whenever we had the yard marked for our front yard garden. Mm-hmm. It looked like, just red lines and green lines and yellow. There was all kinds of stuff.
So on the opposite end of that, you want to look up. So you want to look for power lines and whatever else.
Well, here's the reason with power lines is number one. Number two is, how big is the canopy going to be at maturity, and what is that potentially going to grow into? Is it going to grow into the side of the house, neighbor's business? What's the end result going to be? Is it going to trace over your property into their property? So we want to look up and be very aware of what the end result, just like when we plant vegetables, how much space in between each plant, how big is that mature plant going to be, and how much space do we need? Same thing with the tree. Just because it's cute and little now, just like a puppy or a kid, they get big and take up a lot more space.
Right. So that's something to think about. If you're growing along with that, if you're growing a fruit tree, you can always top it or prune it, and that's something you want to know as well. Which is
important and really beneficial, because fruit trees, we've got a pear tree on our property that was there before we got there. It's probably about 30 years old. It's 50 foot tall. And when the fruit falls from the top portions of the tree, there's nothing to save it. It just smashes on the ground. If you top cut or top prune your tree, you can keep it very compactable, and that's what orchards do as well. So you can easily get access to the fruit, and it doesn't fall to the ground. You can harvest it, and you can utilize every aspect of that tree, what it provides you.
Right. It's definitely something to think about. Plant in native soil. So we're going to kind of talk about how you plant a tree properly. The first thing is that when you plant this, you want to dig your hole, and you want to dig your hole probably about twice the size of the root ball that you're planting. And I actually work in the city of Milwaukee, and I was watching at my office, the department public works people plant trees, and they did it very properly. They dug the hole twice as big, and they did all of these things here. So that's definitely really good. But so you want to plant native soil. So what we're saying is that you dig the hole twice as big, and you don't want to try to backfill it with compost.
100%. No, don't do that. You want to cut the netting off of the tree, the burlap and or the metal woven wire that is typically wrapped or most times wrapped around this tree. If it's in a container, it can be root bound, so you want to, and that means the roots are wrapped around and continue to wrap around. You want to tease those out. If you break some, it's okay.
Yeah, you can take like a shovel if you need to and kind of
bend them out.
Yeah, bend them out, kind of not really chop them, but take the shovel and kind of twist it around and stuff so you release those roots.
Now, why wouldn't you want to plant in 100% compost? It's good, rich soil. Yes, it is. The problem being is if you backfill that hole with 100% compost, that tree will never send out runner roots. It will stay right where it's at because all the nutrients that tree needs is right in that hole in which you provided for it. The problem with that is once that tree gets to a certain height or gets higher and puts a canopy on, leaves are very heavy. We get a lot of wind. Everybody gets wind. Whenever that wind occurs, if that tree has not put out foundational roots, it's going to topple over. And it's just going to top right over, and the root ball is going to pop out because there's no strength or structure for that root system to hold itself in the ground.
Right. So, yeah, that's why you want to do that. Now, when you stake it, okay, so imagine, if you will, that your fist is your root ball of your tree. And you want to put the stakes on the outside. You don't want, so if you hold your fist up, you don't want to drive the stakes into your knuckles. You want to go outside of what your fist would be, planted in the ground, and you want to plant your stakes outside of that root ball. And that way it allows for, if you need to stake the tree, a lot of times you don't have to, but if you need to stake the tree, it allows for those stakes to be supportive still, but it's not being driven into.
And you can remove them.
Yeah, you can remove them, that too.
And you don't want to tie it down.
No, you want to use like
very loose.
Very loose. And that's what's important. You don't want to tighten your tree down so that it can't move. You want it to move a little bit, but if you need to stake it, then at least it has some support.
And really, you do not need to stake trees. That really is kind of a concept that is no longer necessary, because trees have to be strong on their own. If you stake it and stake it too tightly, that tree is relying on the stakes and becomes very weak when you remove those straps or wires or strings, and it doesn't have the ability to support itself. Watering, we want to water regularly for first couple of weeks until the tree gets established. Even with native rain, we want to get the tree plenty of water. If you're getting a bare root tree or you're getting a tree that's in a container, we want to hydrate that tree, or any tree, hydrate it before it goes in the ground, especially bare roots. Let them soak in water.
Native rain?
Yeah, native rain. Let them soak in water, a bare root tree, for 6-8 hours.
Do people bring in rain from other sources?
You have no idea what some people do.
That's true. You also want to...
Fruit trees might need a second pollinator. Some fruit trees are self-pollinating. Some fruit trees are required or do need by nature a second tree in order to pollinate the fruit. So be aware of what you're selecting.
One thing I want to mention is that a lot of people mulch around their trees,
yes,
which is fine, but you don't want to mulch what's called volcano mulch, where it looks like the tree is the top of the volcano.
It's 3 foot up the
you want to leave like a little well around the tree. You can still mulch, but leave a well around the tree.
A trench.
Like a trench, yeah.
To capture the water so it's not running off. Make sure you can grow that tree in your area. Yes, there are places you can buy trees from anywhere in the country and have them shipped to your place. Some garden centers will sell tropical trees for indoor growth, growing capabilities. But make sure it will grow in your area. Just because it can grow in zone 4, or let's say the tree can grow successfully in zone 6, that doesn't necessarily mean it can grow successfully in zone 4. There are some trees, hardy varieties, many varieties are hardy in different zones based on the type of plant or tree that you're getting. So keep aware of that. If you want a peach tree, you might be able to find one that's a hardy enough peach tree that will grow in your particular area.
And then think about your tree intentions. Do you want a shade tree? Do you want a beautiful budding tree? Do you want a fruit tree? Think about why you're growing that tree, why you want to grow that tree, and realize that you're going to have that tree there for a long time.
Probably going to outlive you. So
sure.
be aware if you get a tree that outlives you, what your what that's going to look like. So keep that in mind. So planting trees, we encourage it if based on the situation and conditions that you want and the intentions that you have. Another problem that we face in our garden is Japanese beetles.
Yeah, Japanese beetles. They will probably, hopefully, be here before we know it. Or
hopefully, not hopefully, no.
Weevils, borers, various beetles and their larvae can cause, harm. And if you want to protect your area without harming the good insects but getting the bad ones, Phylum Bioproducts does just that with powerful, potent, and environmentally safe biological pest control products. It's the first Bt insecticide powerful enough to control both adult and larvae stages of susceptible pests. And unlike the chemical products, Phylum's line of products do not pose a risk to beneficial insects such as bees, butterflies, and other pollinators that exist with chemical products. Therefore, you can now achieve control rates that you expect from the chemical insecticides without doing harm. You can visit PhylumBioproducts.com. That's PhylLOM Bioproducts.com.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter earth auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter earth auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
New Natural Healing Ointment, USDA certified organic. Get your tube at nunuhealing.com.
Your plants are greener when using Hydrobox, revolutionary in plant watering. Hydrobox catches the water from watering and delivers it straight to the roots to release when plants need it. You will water 3 times less often and plants grow faster. Hydrobox is an innovative little gel-filled pouch that goes in the bottom of a pot, container, or grow bag. Multiple sizes based on need. Easy to install and use. For indoor and outdoor use. Saves time and money. Lasts up to 3 years. Look for it at HomeDepot.com or visit GoHydrobox.com.
EcoGarden Systems is a revolutionary way to grow food. A fully contained raised platform with a conventional watering system. Solar power unit optional. Made from recycled material in the U.S., EcoGarden Systems raised garden bed offers sustainable organic gardening that is environmentally sound, quick and easy to set up, maintain, and fun to use. Fill your garden with soil and plant your seeds. Your EcoGarden will take care of the rest. Can set up in backyard, patio, and even your driveway, any level surface. For more information, visit EcoGardenSystems.com.
Use coupon code WIVEG 2019 and get $295 off listed price of $1,695 plus free shipping, a $250 value at EcoGardenSystems.com. Trellising, an effective way to get your plants off the ground, maximize space, and production of the plants that you're growing. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by MIGardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at MIGardener.com. A trellis can be any device in which you purchase or build or find that can assist your plants growing vertically. This will increase the productivity, decrease the rot, and make it easier for you to harvest. Pole beans, cucumbers, peas, tomatoes, some winter squash are all crops that do benefit greatly from having support and allowing them to grow vertically. Tomatoes are a vine crop in the indeterminate variety, and if left unsupported, they will grow on the ground. And 50% of your crop will be lost due to ground rot, insects, and just missing the fruit. Cucumbers and pole beans, it's much easier to harvest these crops when they're vertically. Cucumbers can sprawl on the ground. Pole beans do not do well if you do not support them. A trellis can be anything from some sticks in the ground to a manufactured, purchased item to the bottom of a baby crib and anything in between to allow the plants to grasp onto the item in order to grow vertically. Some people even take old mattresses and burn them off and use the springs as a trellis. That's up to your discretion. but it maximizes the space because you can grow vertically. And for pole beans, you can get 2 to 3 times more off one plant of a pole bean than you can a bush bean plant. So get your plants up off the ground, maximize your space, and grow more. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com. The new way to support your tomatoes. Wrap it and snap it. Tomatosnaps.com. World's coolest raingauge.com. Need I say more? Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com.
Soil Diva is the best kept secret in the gardening world. Soil Diva is an all-natural liquid biological soil and plant stimulant product. Check it out at Amazon.com. Search Soil Diva.
Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com. Big Fats has a variety of unique and delicious hot sauces available in mild, medium, and hot. A small company looking to change the world with all natural hot sauces made from quality ingredients and a whole lot of love. BigFatsHotSauce.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. So in the first segment, you learned what you needed to know in order to grow successfully in containers. Now here's the next step. You can go to Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center and get a container mix in bulk. It's cheaper to buy it that way. And you can pick up all the plants that you need in order to plant your container garden.
And they have a knowledgeable staff. They also have the Bloom Coffee Center, and then they also have the playground for the kids. You can find all this at 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield, just south of Layton. You can call 414-282-4220 or go to bluemills.com.
Hello, I'm Robert Scott Bell, the voice of health, freedom, and healing liberty. Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Holly, let's go to the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Hotline and bring in our guest.
Barbara Pleasant is a contributing editor to Mother Earth News and Mother Earth Living magazines, author of books to help gardeners grow along with their gardens, and a lecturer to garden club shows, botanical gardens, master gardener organizations, and more. She's also the author of the book Homegrown Pantry, which is her most recent book. Welcome to the program, Barbara.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's great to be on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us on the program and educate not only Holly and myself, but all of our listeners as well.
Well, it started raining, so I can't hill up potatoes.
Well, we like to can our potatoes, but many people don't. What is the best way to have long-term potato storage without canning them?
Well, you know, a lot of people just don't like pressure canning. It scares them. And potatoes will store in a cool, dark place for a long time, and most people don't grow all that many. But now, there are those potatoes that get sliced with a shovel or speared with a fork while you're harvesting, you know, the ones that you would declare culls that are damaged. You know, I bake those and then either shred them for hash browns or slice them into slices once they're cooked and then dehydrate those so that making hash browns is just a matter of putting hot water in with the dried shredded potatoes and frying them in a nonstick skillet for a minute, and they're ready. So it's really you make convenient food that way.
Okay. That's a really good tip. Actually, I never thought about doing that. Now, you make a low sugar jam using Pomona Pectin. It's kind of a unique jam. Does it taste good? How do you do it? Tell us more about that.
Well, the procedure using Pomona Pectin, which is a calcium-activated pectin, is a little different from using, for example, Sure Gel, where you just put it in all at once. And in the traditional way, you can taste along to see how sweet it tastes. But to get what a friend of mine calls a high gel rate, you need a lot of sugar. And so Pomona Pectin, the most similar thing I can describe is it works more like a gelatin. And you learn through experience. See, there's some guesswork involved because you put the sugar in at the end. So you brought your juice to a boil and put in some sugar, but you mix the pectin with the sugar and dump it all in at once. But you end up with a jam or a preserve with maybe half the sugar. And one of the things about making jams is you quickly learn that you don't need all that many jars. It's not like we eat jam 3 times a day. And it's easy to put up too much.
Yeah, I agree. I did that when I first started making jam and was really successful with it. And then I was just giving it away. Please take my jam. Now, you make an onion jam. Can you tell us about the onion jam? I've never had that.
Onion jam is wonderful. One year, for unexplained reasons, I had a lot of damage from onion root maggots, which are little fly larvae that tunnel into the onion, and you can't store them. They're, the damage is on the outside of the onion, but you have to go ahead and use them up. And so, I don't really care for dehydrated onions too much. So I ended up making an onion jam, which has both vinegar and sugar in it. And it became the basis for salad dressings and sauces, and it was so handy to have around. I hope to make some more this year, but I don't want to wish a pest problem on myself.
Yeah, onion jams, it doesn't sound appealing, but I guess it's one of those things you can't judge it until you've tried it.
But when I've taken it with me, when I've given talks and put out crackers and onion jam, people love it. And I believe that in France it's much more common than it is here.
Interesting. We're getting here in the upper Midwest portions of the United States, getting ready to plant our winter squash. We like the Jardel pumpkin. What are some winter squashes that you would recommend for good long-term storage?
Well, the great thing about the Jardel pumpkin is that the seeds are probably the plumpest of all the seeds. If you wanted a pumpkin that had not as big as, what we call pepitas or edible onion seeds, edible pumpkin seeds, but still big and fat, the Jardel is great for that. Now, the one that I think it's interesting that both of us, when we say winter squash, but what we are going to choose to grow our pumpkins, you're going to grow Jardel, and I'm going to grow Long Island cheese, which is the same species as butternut squash, Cucurbita moschata, and because of that, it does not get squash fine borers. And I really like the flavor and the keeping quality of the Long Island cheese pumpkin. So that's the one that I always recommend. It's my favorite. Now, several years ago, it's been a long time, I did an article for Mother Earth News on the best squash for pies. And when I hit the middle, you go around and try to get regional sources, so you get different perspectives on what's the best, squash for pie. And I heard about buttercups, and of course had to grow them myself. And I have to say, a good buttercup makes the best pie. So I always have to put that one on the list too.
That's definitely something that we might have to look into. We're talking with Barbara Pleasant, author, editor, lecturer, more. What are some good hedge plants that you could grow that will deter deer? Deer are a problem for a lot of people. What are some plants that you can plant along your garden that will make the deer not want to be as attracted to your beautiful garden?
Your deer are so big, too. It's like the further north you go, the bigger the deer get. I have a lot of deer pressure here, and I've made the mistake in the past of mowing paths from the woods straight to the garden. So they it was the opposite of a detour. I put in a highway for the deer. That was a big mistake. Now, a deep thicket of blackberries and raspberries and brambly things will often deter them because they won't jump over something more than 12 feet, kind of deep. But that's a lot of real estate to put into a deer deterrent barrier. One of the plants I'm working with that may work out is English basketry willows, little willow trees that can be planted very close together and become very dense, but that's just a special project. I don't know. One of the things I do in my garden, because deer incursion is going to happen, I live on the edge of the Blue Ridge Parkway National Park where there's no hunting, and we have resident deer and passers through, is I never plant deer candy along the edge of the garden. Deer candy would be beans, peas, and I have quit growing I know you don't grow sweet potatoes, but they would rather have sweet potatoes than anything. So, and all along the edge of the garden are herbs, which they never touch. And I never have them bother cucumber crops or squash. And so over the years, I think my summer garden has evolved to be more vegetables that deer just don't care for, and fewer vegetables that they love.
So basically, don't invite them in by cutting paths is the number one rule, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing that. I realized what I'd done, and I went, oh, how dumb, the human minds. That's because I wanted to walk.
Right, and that's the thing, yes.
That way, and so I invited the deer to come on in, girls. And I had a lot of damage. But still, just because I don't know when they're going to come, and they're going to come at night, and the second half of summer is when I'm going to have problems. Like, I grow bush beans rather than pole beans because I can cover them with row cover overnight. Just spread out a row cover over the planting, and if they can't see it, they won't eat it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about some problems that people do whenever they store their produce. There's some wrong ways that people store produce. What are some of the common ones that you look at and go, that's not right at all, in a kind way?
Oh, I have looked at salsas that were under-processed so that the tomato seeds in the salsas were actually sprouting. So that's kind of spooky, which means that it didn't even get to 130 degrees Fahrenheit in those jars. They were under-processed. Well, one of the, I don't think gardeners mean to take shortcuts, but maybe they get in a hurry right at the end. And so I think under-processing with water bath is one of the things I've seen. I know for many years my freezer vegetables didn't turn out the way I liked, and I got a vacuum sealer, less than $50 that sucks the air out of the freezer bag. And the quality of the snap peas is so much better, and the quality of the green beans is so much better, that I really think if you're going to be serious about, blanching and freezing a quantity of vegetables, and I am, investing in an inexpensive vacuum sealer is a good idea.
Well, and that's the thing. Holly does a basics of canning presentation, and that's one thing. You can take a lot of shortcuts in gardening and growing, but processing food is one thing that you cannot take shortcuts and expect to have good results or a healthy end to that. Yeah, and it's not that hard to do things right. Yeah. And so as a gardener, you put all this time into growing the crop, and then to, get impatient at the end, it's just something you don't want to do.
Yeah, I completely understand. So how can we find out more about you and your books and all your great information?
Well, I'm easy. BarbaraPleasant.com has lots of information about me, and I have some pages about plants that I really like and stuff like that. And then as for my books, I have several, and if you go to Amazon just with my name, it'll pop them all up, or you can go to your local bookstore or library. You know, one of my tests of whether or not I want a book is when I've renewed it twice from the library, I need to buy it.
Good observation there. Well, we greatly appreciate Barbara for coming on the program and sharing your knowledge with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners.
Well, thanks, and I hope you have a wonderful season this year.
Absolutely, thank you. And when we come back, it's all about your garden questions and our garden answers. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Send your questions in now to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Instant Access text hotline at 414-368-9311. That number again, text 414-368-9311 and send your garden question in.
If you like fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood, you should check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. You can find out where to pick up top quality produce from tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and sweet, juicy blueberries. If you're sick of bland, mealy peaches and lackluster blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has just what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. For location and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They have locations all over, including Iowa, Upper and Lower Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to for the freshest produce around. Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice. A health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping.
Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
Get your garden growing with a Chapin garden seeder. Eliminate the back-breaking work of planting seeds in your garden. The Model 8701B seeder makes it easy to accomplish planting rows of seeds of various sizes. Find the Chapin garden seeder online or order it through your local Home Depot, True Value, or Do It Best hardware store. To see the full line of Chapin lawn and garden products, go to www.chapinmfg.com. The Norwalk Juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk Juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at norwalkjuicers.com. Use coupon code GARDENTALK to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer.
Drip Garden is a self-watering, self-fertilizing, pop-up vertical garden with automatic timer. Easy to use, durable, grow 36 plants in a 4-foot by 4-foot area. DripGarden.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart, Dharmaceutical, Dr. Earth, Flame Engineering, Handy Safety Knife, Hydrobox, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, M.I. Gardner, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Rootmaker, Soil Diva, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can reach us by the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard email inbox, and that address is twvgshow@gmail.com. Or you can text us on the Instant Access ivorganics.com text line, and that's 414-368-9311. You can tweet us using hashtag TWVG. Our Twitter handle is at TWVG Show. Don't forget our text line is at 414-368-9311. And we had a caller on the break, and I think you were saying Mama Tula, I hope I'm saying that right. And she had a question about her compost. She does a trench composting method, and she doesn't put meat in there, it sounds like, just vegetable scraps, even bread, and then pasta. Sounds like cooked pasta. And the animals are coming and digging it up.
She did put a grate over top of that area, which was just a barbecue grate, and they were able to flip that up and dig the compost, the scraps out.
I would probably stop putting cooked foods in there, just the raw vegetable scraps. I'd also try to dig it deeper, or even just put some, like a 2x4 on it.
Some kind of plywood 2x4 or scraps of lumber, just to suppress that down to prevent the animals from digging that up. But also that pasta, you may have included butter in that, a smell of some sort. Bread, that's probably enticing them to dig deeper. And if the animal is hungry enough, it really doesn't make it matter, really, honestly, what you do if it's hungry enough. On the farm, and I'll tell a story real quick, when animals would pass away, we would take and bury them to get rid of them. And we would put them 3 foot deep in an area and cover them with soil. But in a couple of days, the coyotes, the cougars, the panthers would have it dug back up, and it would be out in the open.
Pass away.
Pass away, yeah. They died. Yeah. It's a natural progression of life.
I know, it's just nice how you said that.
She had another question in regards to tree trimming and property lines.
Sure, so she wanted to know the tree, if it grows over, like I said, the property line, and it grows over onto your neighbor's side, who's responsible for maintaining that tree on the other side? It would be you. In most situations, it's your tree. You would have to have a conversation with your neighbor, though, if you needed to get that tree trimmed or something, and then have it trimmed, but make sure it's on a day or time that is okay for them too.
Yes. We appreciate the question and listening as well. Next question is, hello, my name is John. I'm from Waukesha, Wisconsin. I live in an apartment and have a small patio, and I would love to grow some veggies. The problem is there's not a lot of sunlight here. Are there vegetables that do well that don't require a lot of sun?
Well, right. So I have a saying, I don't know where I got the saying from, but if you grow it for the fruit or root, you want full sun. If you grow it for the greens or herbs, you can have partial shade. So you can grow greens. You can grow a lot of greens, kale, Swiss chard. You can even grow some root crops. It might be a little bit not as big.
4 to 6 hours of sunlight.
Yeah. You could grow cherry tomatoes. Those are okay. You wouldn't want to try...
You want at least 6 hours of sun for cherries. Yeah. Herbs can go about a little less than 4 hours.
Lettuce, spinach, radishes.
So there's a lot of options in which you can grow in partial shade being 4 to 6 hours.
Our friend Nathan in Green Bay, what is the best time to plant asparagus and strawberry crowns, before or after first frost date?
Well, right now is the best time here in the upper portions of the Midwest to get those in the ground. You can get them from bare roots from your local independent garden center, or you can buy them online And when you plant your asparagus, you want to space the roots out like a spider so that they can produce and grow for a long time, 20 to 50 years. And then strawberries will last 5 to 7 years. You have an option of growing June-bearing, which produce in June, that do produce daughter plants, which is the propagation means of reproduction on the plant, or everbearing, which produce several times a year and they do not produce runners.
All right, next question, please. I need help. I have a compost pile that heats up, but it smells like ammonia. Why? Well, this is because you do not have the right ratio. If your compost pile smells like ammonia, the most common reason is you have too much green material or a lack of brown material in your compost pile. You should have about 2 to 3 times more brown material than green material. Brown material is shredded paper, dry leaves, that type of item, and the green material is shredded or grass clippings, chemical-free grass clippings, yard waste, kitchen scraps, that type of material. So get the ratio right, and the smell will go away. I normally plant my indeterminate tomatoes horizontally in my garden bed in the trench method. I have several determinate varieties that I was wondering if I can do the same practice too. I was reading you shouldn't trim off the bottoms as much as the indeterminate, so I thought maybe I shouldn't plant them horizontal in the trench method because I trim off quite a bit when they're indeterminate in the trench method. Well, you can plant the determinate varieties in the trench method. You may not want to bury them all the way. We plant ours about 75% down the stem, removing all the leaves except for the top canopy. And those are the indeterminate. With the determinate, you might want to only go about 50% depth in the hole, because the determinate is only going to get to a certain height, then bear its fruit. Becky from Southern California writes in and asks, 2 months ago our family got a new Labrador puppy and he chews on everything and loves to explore. My concern is that he will get in the vegetable garden and try to eat a fruit or vegetable, and it will make him sick. Do I need to be worried about this? So we're going to go out to Ben Bartlett. He is from Standard Process Farms. Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer for over 90 years. To help identify the best supplements for you, find your local healthcare professional today. Go to standardprocess.com/patient.
Hello, this is Ben Bartlett from the Standard Process Organic Farm. Today we got a great question from Becky. She got a new lab puppy and wondered if it was okay to have that puppy around the garden. It's a great question, and there's a couple things to be aware of. First one is your fertilizers. Make sure that after you put fertilizer down, even if it's organic, things like bone meal or kelp meal, even those type of products can be poisonous or at least harmful if the puppy gets too much of them. So make sure